Good to see
Good to
you
see
guys
you.
again. Twice in
But
1 week. This is a joy. How are you both?
Thank you. Thank you. We are Kerwin and Keith, the Father Son Galaxy.
nice
Uh,
to meet you.
All
Guys.
right. Good to meet you as well. Okay.
All right. So this first question is for you, Mr. Michael. What was your vision for Young Jedi Adventures when you first started working on it? And what were your goals for the series?
Mm, well, my vision for this show was, when my daughter was born, we're big Star Wars fans in this family, and so she grew up with all sorts of Star Wars plushies and onesies. And what I really wanted was to have a show or a movie that was a Star Wars show or movie, but it felt like it was something that she could watch that was made for her and kids like her. And so it was really important to me that this show felt like it would be uh, a way to welcome new fans and new kids to Star Wars. I can't remember what was the second part of your question. There was another part of the question there.
Yeah. What was your vision for Young Jedi Adventures and what were your goals for the series?
Mm. Well, like the vision for the series was to make sure that we could tell a show that felt like Star Wars because we're all big Star Wars fans and would be a good introduction to Star Wars, but was also fun and silly and uh, you know had lots of action and adventure. And I just really wanted to see a blue teddy bear swinging a lightsaber. You know, Lamont, do you have anything to add?
not. I really like blue teddy bears swinging like that. Uh,
Booba. He's a
Yes,
Booba.
he's a pooba. I know.
I know he's a boob. He's nuts. To me, it was the just how big and beautiful and bright and inclusive the world is, and how these go on these adventures. And the goal for me was to just have kids of a certain age, just just go on the adventures that we could go on when we were like riding our bikes around our neighborhoods back in the day. It's just all these friends coming together and learning life lessons and learning it's okay to fail, but but you can learn from it and get back up and keep fighting, and just the lessons of being just a good person. It was a beautiful show to work on.
Next question is for you, James. Why did you choose to set the Young Jedi Adventures during the High Republic era?
It's funny because yeah, we had an intention that that was the right era for this show. When we first started, you know, machinating that we could possibly do this and taking meetings with talent. And I think the reason why we we felt so sure that it was the right space because it's really a time of optimism and hope, because it's a time of the Republic really working at its best, and a time with the Jedi at their height, and truly able to be the aspirational heroes that I think we've all probably picked up lightsabers at some point of our life and fantasized about being one of those Jedi. Not real lightsabers, but unless maybe I don't know. That and really be the heroes that we imagined they were before the dark times, right? And before the struggle of the Clone Wars. And so we felt that this was the right era for so many reasons, so many other reasons too. I mean, a great aspect of the fiction is the connection with new cultures and new regions in the galaxy. And all of it felt so metaphoric for our world in many ways. And so right in the sense of, you know, so right for kids who are going to take their first step into a larger world and go to school and have to deal with new people and new places and learn all that means. So we love the era, and it's new, and it gives creatives an opportunity to come in and define new sectors that are theirs, and not have a broader canvas to create new. And so for this age group, it felt right. You know, yeah. I mean, it was always something that we just felt was the right approach.
I will say, the time of the High Republic was a very explorative time. Because if you fast forward 200 years, everything's been found out. There's no new mysteries in the universe. But during the era of the High Republic, there's so much more to do, so much more to see. And like you mentioned, the Jedi are in their prime at that point.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. And and Michael and Lamont are having fun finding all that new stuff that's in the galaxy at the time.
Yeah, I think a lot of
You
the
know,
fun of the High Republic is that there's so much unexplored for us, and it allows us to kind of to go into maybe corners of the galaxy that maybe people haven't seen before, and maybe some parts of the galaxy we have seen before. We'll see. So there's lots to play with.
yeah, because by the time of like the Rise of Skywalker, we would have already found all the blue teddy bears. They would have just been walking around. That's funny. When there's a season two, can you
Yes, so are we talking about season 2?
please
Yeah,
include
I
a
like your
scene where
optimism.
Nubs is eating like blue gummy bears just for laughs?
Well,
He would eat those no problem.
yeah.
It'd be funny though. He would stare
Yeah.
at them first, like, and then he would eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing about a season 2. Right now, our goal is always to, we put so much into this stuff. We really do. And these guys in particular, pour their heart. I mean, these things take years. This is 3-4 years in the making. And you put so much into it and you believe in it. And we've loved it for a long time and we've seen the potential of it, but you put it out to the world, and the thing that we make this for audiences, and we hope audiences love it as much as we do. That's where we're at right now. I would love to be in season 2 and have Nubs eating a bunch of some sort of new fruit that we have, new berries we haven't seen before. But if all goes well on May the 4th.
Yeah. Which it will. This show's got the potential to do as well as any other Star Wars show.
Absolutely.
Aw.
Thank
Thanks,
you
guys.
so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That means a lot.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Lamont, why is it so important for young people to see themselves represented in media, whether it be YouTube, TikTok, TV shows, movies, you name it?
That's an amazing question. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So, it's just people want to be seen as though they matter, as though they're important as everyone else, and that their stories matter. So, I feel like this Star Wars has a unique way of just bringing people together and showing people that other stories matter, other people matter, and friends from all walks of life, all different species, get to feel counted and important, and no one's separated. Everyone's on the journey together, and they're fighting for what's right. And to me, to be able to have a part in that, to feel that anyone who watches this show can see themselves in the show, and their kids, and to be able to sit down with your kids and watch the show and feel the connection between generations as well. Because I am a proud uncle. I do not have children, hopefully one day, but I'm going to be watching this with my nephew, and just to see himself, just to see him watch it and watch him watch it, I can't even explain to you how much that's going to mean to me.
Beautiful. Michael, can you share the process of developing the characters in the story? How'd you come up with the names of the characters? How'd you come up with the plot?
Yeah, happy to. So the how I came up with the characters was, well, first off, I knew that what I wanted the show to be was truly an introduction to Star Wars, and so the characters had to feel both fresh, but also have a little bit of something familiar in them, so that when kids graduated from our show to the next shows or the movies, that they would feel like the characters and the world all felt kind of familiar. So that was really important to me. Um, for the character of Kai Brightstar, um, I have a younger cousin who's about 10 years younger than me, and he he's half Norwegian and he's half Haitian. And we grew up nerding out about Star Wars. And he is now a bigger Star Wars fan than anyone I know. And it was really important to me, knowing him and having our relationship, it was really important to me that he had a character in a Star Wars show that was a lead that looked like him. And so that's been a real gift for me to be able to help bring this character to life, and have Lamont help me as well. And to see his response, I got the best voicemail from him the other week that was just so over the moon. I was so thrilled. Um, and in terms of his name, again, just trying to keep to the core legacy of Star Wars. It was important. You got Skywalker. It was just important that we had elements that felt, again, familiar, but were fresh. And to me, I see Kai as someone who is always optimistic and tries to bring out the light in other people and also in himself. And so that name just felt so perfect to me. So that's where his name came from. Liz is inspired by my daughter, who is just this force of nature. She's so fun and funny and whip smart, and she loves animals. And so Liz was inspired by her. And again, those names kind of evoke a sense of light. And again, I just wanted the show to feel light and airy. And so, and then Nubs is just, like I said before, I really wanted to see, just a blue, fierce teddy bear swinging a lightsaber, shouting a battle cry from the depths of his soul. He's such a fun character too, because like he's all emotion. If he's happy, he's really happy, and if he's sad, he's really sad. And what's great is we get to see Kai and Lith kind of come around him and be a good friend to him and help him work through his emotions. And of course, he's a great friend to them. So and Nubs is actually, believe it or not, named after our family dog, of all things. So he's unfortunately is no longer with us, but it was a really fun way for me to honor him. So yeah. Oh, a dash.
incredible.
Yeah.
RJ83 too. That's
oh yes. Okay. So all right. If you guys,
wow.
yes. Okay. So well, Nash. First off, she's our non-Jedi character, right? And so she doesn't have the pilot. She doesn't have magical powers, as you might put it.
Kind of
but
like the Han Solo of the show.
Exactly. And so what I wanted was for her to be the character that maybe the people and the kids who are not Star Wars fans or maybe know nothing about Star Wars, they can look at her and kind of feel like they relate to her, because she gets to ask those questions like, who's that tiny little green guy, and then RJ83, I just felt like she needed a companion, like a best, almost like a puppy, like the best friend you could possibly ask for. And of course, I named him after my favorite movie when I was an 8-year-old, which was Return of the Jedi, and that's the year Return of the Jedi came out. So, so it was me kind of writing a little love letter to the 8-year-old me. So, yeah.
First of all, that is such a nerd move. I love it. We
Thank
love
you.
it.
I can't
That
believe I
is
got away with
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Also,
And it's
let me
awesome.
ask you
Yeah.
something. What species is Nubs?
So he is a new species. I got to create a Star Wars species, which is so cool. He's a Pubian, a Pubin. Uh, yes, what's great about them is like you see in the show, he's small, but very strong, and he will end up growing to be very big and very powerful. And hopefully someday we'll get to see what older Nubs look like. I think it could be a lot of fun.
Just kind of like a Wookiee and an Ewok that's blue.
Yeah, meets the Hulk.
Yeah,
That's incredible. Yeah.
Wow, that is. I love that.
I've never asked the question to, anyone in regards to how you come up with the character names. You never really think about it, but your answers were so beautiful. I mean, you really have, a reason of why these characters are named this way. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
And it's also deep cut. There's always going to be deep cut nerd moves in there. Because
Absolutely.
that's
That's
just
wonderful.
who we are at our core. Yeah.
There's a lot more where that came from.
Yeah,
Buckle up.
But I will say, I
Wow.
think it's a good example. Like, it's a microcosm for the care and craft that these guys poured into the show, and we all did. Lucasfilm, the Wild Canary, and Icon, Decision Junior. Like, we all care so much, and so Michael's commitment to the craft and caring so much about the naming, etc. That kind of extends to every choice in the show.
Oh, thanks, James.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Michael, can you tell us a bit more about the animation process for Young Jedi Adventures and what technology was used to create the animation?
Oh man, that is a long-winded. That's a long question. I'll try to keep it short. So we first create the stories, right? The screenplays, and then the next thing, once those are locked, and that's quite a long process in and of itself. And then once those are ready to go, we record the voice actor or actors, and we give that audio to our artists who have been designing the ships and the world. The wild thing about animation is that every single thing that you see on screen had to be designed and thought of by somebody. And so we have a team of just the most amazing artists who are pouring their love of Star Wars into every single scratch, every detail of our show to make it feel like it's Star Wars, to make it feel lived in. And then there's a process called storyboarding, where we have artists who draw out the story almost like it's animated, but it's really rough, and it's not
Like a rough sketch, basically.
Yeah, like a rough sketch. And we have the audio.
Little side notes, kind of like a paper slideshow of all the events that happen,
That's exactly it. Yeah, and it gives us a sense of like, oh, this is the story. Is the story working? Do the characters feel right? Does everything make sense? Because sometimes you might read something on a screenplay and it makes sense on page, but then when you see it come to life, you're like, oh, this could be so much better if we did this or put it over here. And so it gives us an opportunity to kind of revise and make the stories even better. And then once all that's done, we send it off to this amazing company up in Canada called Icon. And they have world-class CG designers and animators, and they're using, I believe it's Maya, and which is a program, and so they basically take everything we've given, all the 2D designs and the script and the audio, and then and bring the show to life truly in CG. And it is, for me, like opening up a present whenever we get that email. It's like, Icon is ready, here's the animation, it's ready for you. And it's like, oh, rush to our computers and load it up and get to see sort of what that world looks like. And it's always it's always better than any of us ever could have imagined. After that, we've got the music and the sound effects, and that is so fun because we've got an incredible composer named Matthew Margison who he's incredible. And just really, it's amazing. George Lucas talks about how music is like half of the movie, right? And really makes it. And it's just incredible to me to see when he brings his music to our show, just how much it elevates the storytelling, makes everything feel more exciting, more Star Wars. It's truly amazing. And then we have incredible sound designers. We're working with Skywalker Sound and also this company down here in LA called Advantage Audio, and they have just incredible sound designers that we get to play with all the Star Wars. Like we have the whole Star Wars sound effect library, and so we're like, ah, you know that sound when the speeder bike goes by, it's that woo sound. Like let's get that and put that in here. Like it's so fun. It just is like I'm like a kid in a candy box when we're doing our sound design meeting. So,
Yeah.
and then after that, it's all kind of put together, and we do put our little finishing touches on it and wrap it up in a bow and send it out to the world. So, yeah, it's a long process. It takes about almost a year and a half for each episode. So it's a lot. Yeah.
Ironically, like earlier today, I'm on YouTube and like I'm watching a video and I get the ad for Young Jedi Adventures and I'm like, that's tonight.
Yeah. It looks beautiful. It's incredible looking, and I know it's very colorful. I know it needs to be because you want to keep a child's attention, but it just looks brilliant.
Bright colors, though.
Oh,
Bright colors, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's been a real fun challenge for us to do something that felt bright and fun and welcoming, but also still feels Star Wars. And I'm just so impressed with how my designers and the team at Icon have pulled it off. Incredible.
Mr. Lamont, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience working on Black Lightning? What was it like to bring the character to life on the screen? And what were some of the challenges and rewards of the experience?
Oh, you hit me with a Black Lightning question. Okay. I'll make this. I grew up in a time where superheroes. There was Mantis. That was like the only thing that was on TV, and it was on Fox, and it was one season, but there wasn't really a black superhero on television. I mean, I watched all the superhero stuff and I loved it, but I just like I was saying before, I just didn't really get a chance to feel seen. I loved all the stuff, but it's like it wasn't my quote unquote experience. And then I got the opportunity to be on the show that's behind me. I got the opportunity to be on that show and to tell stories that were. I'm a big comic book nerd. I am deep, but I get to tell stories that again people felt seen, and it's like the all walks of life. We're not a monolith, so it was like the different, like the middle class, the lower class, but how they all just it was the community, and it's just stories that I felt like needed to be told, and lightning. I mean, that's just fun. Just superhero stuff in general, but it was an honor, it was a privilege, and it was the only because Luke Cage was on Netflix. It's the only African American led superhero show ever, I think, on network television. So I will always be proud of that one.
Yeah.
My gosh, you're right.
Yeah, that was my question because I wanted to just let you know how much of a fan I was of Black Lightning. And when I saw your name appear as someone we're going to interview, I got very excited. And I know
He
you're
jumped out of his chair.
what I recognize the name, and I know you're a big DC fan. I just want to know, when you were growing up, how did your love for superheroes start? Did it start with comic books? Did it start with the films? Can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing?
Honestly, it started with, again, I grew up in a bad neighborhood, and I didn't really get to leave the house much. It was like home, it was like school, home, street lights on, get out of the yard. And so I kind of fell in love with fantasy first. My teacher read the Chronicles of Narnia to me, and I was like, ooh, fantasy, that's cool. And then I started just watching superhero stuff because I couldn't afford to buy comic books. So I would just watch anything that was on television. And then I just kind of soaked it all up, and just it became my escape from my neighborhood, and then it just became part of me. And Star Wars is a big part of it. So I was telling these guys before, it was Chronicles of Narnia and A New Hope. That was my entree into, wow, like something greater than the neighborhood I grew up in. So, like, to be able to do Young Jedi Adventures and give that to other generations, like, of kids, just like I was able to do with Black Lightning for people like us. Like, because I didn't see us. So, but the Young Jedi Adventures is it's like the culmination of a lot of great work with a lot of great people, and to be able to just, I don't know, just to be. That's all. We're out in the universe. We're out in the galaxy. Everyone's looking out for each other. It's great. That's it.
And then, what was the experience like working on Young Jedi Adventures? First of all, why did you want to work with Young Jedi Adventures? And what has your experience been like?
Me personally, I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan. James picked up the phone and called and said, "Hey, I have a thing. You're interested?" He didn't even finish telling me what it was. I said I was in. Like, and the experience has been amazing because these two guys are. It's a very collaborative world. It's a very collaborative relationship, and it's so much genuine love for the material and the world and the uh oh, it's my dog. General love for the world, and just like Michael was saying, like every aspect of it, from the animation to the sound to the James and Lucasfilm and the thought that's put into it. I couldn't say no. It's an amazing team, and it's an amazing opportunity to be a part of something that's the first. This is the first show of its kind. Like, this is the earliest entry point into Star Wars. So I'm just honored and blessed that James doesn't think I'm annoying and he called me.
Oh man, it's an honor to work with both these guys. But Lamont, I've known, we've worked together. You know, he's an incredible, talented guy, and I've known Lamont probably 20 years now. We're all very old. He's written a lot of amazing things, and I thought Michael and him would hit it off.
Yeah.
Next question is for all of you. What life lessons do you hope young viewers will get from watching this series? And why are these lessons important to you?
Lamont, do you want to kick it off?
Just, it's important to me because sometimes people forget just how to be good people, and like just to be it's just the life lessons, the friendship, teamwork. Um, it's okay to mess up. But you know, it's okay to learn. Like, again, it just matters to me because I don't know. I just feel like it's needed. This is a great story. That's all.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. There's definitely life lessons. You know, each individual episode sort of has its sort of lesson and moral to it. But I think overall, for me, piggybacking off of what Lamont said, I hope what people take from the show is a celebration of uh, opening your hearts to people from all walks of life. You know, our Jedi kids are traveling all around the galaxy and meeting all kinds of people and creatures, and we get to see Kai, Lisk, Nubs, and Nash uh, make new friends and stand up for people and welcome people and lift them up when they're feeling down. And to me, that those are the values that I hope overall people kind of take away from the show.
Yeah, I mean, everything these guys said, I think when this idea started solidifying, it just felt like such a perfect metaphor for kids who are taking their first steps out into the world, going to kindergarten, preschool, first early grade, like, and having to learn what it's like to work with other people, to learn lessons that are going to serve them as they grow into the amazing human beings all of us are capable of becoming. So that's really what I hope. I mean, there's also the Star Wars franchise guy part of me that really hopes so many people see just the imaginative potential of this galaxy and how it's full of wonder and adventure and excitement and incredibly dynamic characters. And I hope it moves them the way it always moved me when I was a child.
So this one is also for all of you. Yeah. How do you strike a balance between the needs of the fans and your own creative vision? And why is this balance important to you?
Well, first off, I don't know if I even see it like that because I am a fan.
Yeah,
and so, yeah. So to me, it's I feel like I'm getting to make a show a little bit for me, But with that said, we absolutely want to um, respect and inspire Star Wars fans, but also this show is kind of unique because its main goal really is to inspire new Star Wars fans and get new kids into Star Wars. And so, while we are definitely making sure this show feels like it's Star Wars and it's very much a piece with Star Wars and will welcome them into this larger world, but also we get to kind of invent and have new elements to it as well. So hopefully fans will love it, but also what's really important to me is that the new kids to Star Wars and new fans will hopefully fall in love with it and Star Wars as well. Anyone else?
Lamont, I think it's for you. I can.
No one in the room silent now.
What was the question again? Remind me.
So the question was, how do you strike a balance between the needs of the fans and your own creative vision, and why is this balance important to you?
It's funny. Like coming up in an industry where I had to adapt comic books to TV shows, I've figured out, because I'm a big fan boy, like, so I know there's the balance of every time you go to a movie, they're like, you say as a fan, oh, it'd be cool if they did this, and I wish I saw this character and that character. I'm letting you know, we've said that in the room, like, because we're all fans and we really want to do that too, and sometimes we can't fit it all in. But the balance is giving the fans, because we're fans, because it's the stuff we want, is to give them something surprising and fun and something they're like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but also being able to tell the story we want to tell, and not be and not just be able to tell a well-balanced story, but also throw little nuggets in for fans. That's what I always like to do. The little callbacks, the little nods to things, those are the most fun things, because you pick it up and go, that was cool. You don't have to beat people over the head with it. You just drop a line in here, and the people who know. And if they don't know, they'll look it up. And then now you got people Googling, and now they're really invested. But that's
somebody the most invested when they're willing to take the 50 seconds to go Google whatever you said because they don't get it. That's when people are their most invested, because they're going to be like, what else? What's next?
Why is that trending? Oh, that's what that means. And then you go down the rabbit hole. Like, now you're deep in Star Wars lore at that point. But
by the time they finish Young Jedi Adventures, they'll have seen every movie, every episode of every TV show, and read every single book.
And then we will have accomplished our mission.
Every piece of lore
Exactly.
in the
done
entire
what we set
canon.
out to do. I'm honored that you guys wanted to interview us, and thank you like so
Yeah.
much. This was a blast, and
Yeah.
I love talking.
Thank
to
you for your
guys.
time. This has been great.
and if you want to,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this show is going to be groundbreaking, and I just love the idea that kids are not thinking.
It's pretty open. It's just gonna crap board.
Okay, I got you. But it's nice to know that kids are not going to know Luke Skywalker as their first character in Star Wars. It's going to be Kai Brightstar. So that makes me so happy, incredibly happy. So
Luke Skywalker would be like the 5th.
yeah, congratulations to you,
Yeah.
James, Lamont, and Michael. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Got it.
May the force be
Been a
with
pleasure
you.
Truly
talking with you.
Truly
May
a
the force
pleasure.
be with you.
Always a pleasure.
Same to you. Take care.
Take care.